Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite beauty products for the month of May and a little bit like the end half of April because the last month's favorites was actually 2 months worth. And so after the Sephora sale and on is what this video is counting towards because I just had so much products. So this is like 6 weeks worth of products that I have narrowed down into my absolute favorite. A lot of these are from items that I picked up during the Sephora sale, and these are like the ones that really stuck out to me, as well as some other products that I've tried in between. So let's go ahead and just get straight into it. May just like flew by at the blink of an eye, faster than even the fastest of months, because we celebrated my birthday, my husband's birthday, my dad's birthday, Mother's Day. Jose and I went on a joint birthday vacation for a week, so it just like that. So let's start off with the first product that I have, which I have talked about so much recently because that's how relevant it has been in my routine. I've reached for it every single day, but it was something that I picked up during the Sephora sale. So I do want to talk about the Super Goop Glow Screen. Now, mixed opinion on this. I am like on the absolute love it, obsessed with it side. I've had a number of you share with me that it makes you really oily and that it looks really heavy on your skin, so do keep that in mind. But on my skin, this is a perfect hybrid between a makeup primer and a sunscreen. I do apply sunscreen normally before this, so I don't use this as only my sunscreen, but living in Florida, you can never have it too much protection, and sometimes if you do forget, I'm not saying this should replace the sunscreen, but better than nothing, and I love it because it leaves behind a really lightweight feel. It's not too heavy on my skin, and it gives the prettiest glow to the skin. It's almost like a highlighter, but still not too crazy. You can leave it on without anything over top and it still looks great for that glowy finish. I feel like it still peeks through my foundations. So if you're looking for something that's good for summer, that's going to give you a really beautiful glow to the skin, this one from Super Goop is great. It doesn't feel like it has sunscreen in it at all, but do keep in mind the opinions are pretty mixed, but obviously for it to make it in this video, I love it. It is my favorite product that I've tried for the summer. It's a must-have in my summer beauty routine. I also tried a couple of concealers that I fell head over heels with. So the first one, I haven't talked about it a lot since the initial review, but yeah, I love these Natasha Denona High Glam concealers. It's just funny because the concealer that she had in her line prior to these was like my least favorite concealer ever. It was so dry, so I was going into this launch like hopeful that it would be better, but my expectations weren't too high, and this is the complete opposite in the best way of that last concealer. So I've even been loving, there's the color corrector. It's called a correcting concealer. I have mine in the shade C2. This is also really great, and I feel like it's pretty much the exact same formula as the concealer, just in a color correcting shade, so I like this to color correct. And then of course over top I just use the regular High Glam concealers. I'm mixing and switching between P3 and N5. I think I could have benefited from a little bit of a brighter shade for my under eyes, but I love this because it's very hydrating. It gives a medium to full coverage, not quite reaching full, and I just like how hydrating it is. It doesn't dry down too quickly, stays looking very soft on the skin. It's the exact type of formula that I typically go to when it comes to concealer, so she did an amazing job with this. Pretty good coverage, and it has that soft finish to it, which I think looks really great if you were to use this to spot conceal, as well as not necessarily foundation, but spreading it on a little bit of extra areas, not just concentrated on the areas that need coverage. If you just lightly blend it out, it looks really healthy over the skin as well. And then a formula that's very similar to Natasha Denona's, which is why I love it so much, is the Valentino Beauty Concealer. This is not, I guess it is new, but I did pick these up during the sale. I picked up the shades MN2 and LN4. So I initially picked up MN2, and this was too dark for me. It's more of a spot concealing shade, but I loved the finish of this so much that I didn't even bother returning the darker shade. I also picked up LN4 and I've been mixing and matching these, using these on different parts of my face. Pretty similar to the Natasha Denona. I feel like it has like a thinner layer to it. It just looks a little lighter on the skin, but still is quite hydrating, has that glowier finish. It's beautiful. Honestly, kind of as a foundation if you want it to be. Great for spot concealing, great for the under eye, phenomenal for mature skin. I really feel like if you have mature skin, you will like this concealer, especially around the under eyes. So I do love both of these. I don't know which one I prefer because they are quite similar. I would probably say the Valentino because I feel like this one has a little bit of better wear time, but they're both like, it depends on the day. If you ask me tomorrow, I might like the Natasha Denona better, but those two, phenomenal. Like last year, 2022, the concealer launches sucked. These two already amazing. So this next one is truly a shock, but I've been reaching for it ever since I got it so much. It's very, very pricey, but super useful. So this is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Face Sculpting Palette, and this I feel like can be very intimidating to people, but once you learn how to use it and how it best suits you and your needs and what colors work for what purposes on your skin, this is amazing. Now, I don't really use this as like a full face type of thing. I honestly will use my regular products, and then when I want something like a little bit deeper to get truly in the contours of my face, or I need something that's a little bit more cool tone to contour my face, or I need something just to brighten up an area a little bit if my foundation or concealer was too dark, this is the palette that I go for. So I'm not normally doing a full face with it. Today, I just showed you examples of me using this like in an underpainting kind of fashion. I even used one shade as pretty much my foundation today because you do have the versatility with that. But sometimes I don't even really reach for this for foundation. I just use it to finish off light and depth on my face to just make my makeup look that much more better. I'm always reaching for the lightest shade to give that last bit of brightness to the skin, or one of the contour shades to contour down my nose. These formulas are very easy to use. They dry down and they're not too heavy on the skin. They can get heavy if you apply too much, but that really shouldn't be the best way to apply it. So this is perfect to kind of give the finishing touches on the skin. I have a full short that I did showing you how I like to use it. I think that this palette is beautiful and so versatile, and I know it's expensive, but in my opinion, it's worth it. I have a couple powders. So the first one is an oldie but a goodie. I hadn't used this in a couple years, but I did get it in a PR package, so I pulled out the good old Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder, and I was reminded as to why this was viral, like the setting powder for so many years, not a TikTok craze. Like this was back in the day one of the best powders, and even now comparing it to market of the current day, this is still one of the best setting powders. I honestly forgot how blurring it was. I probably didn't even notice because when I started using this, I was so young. I didn't need my skin to be blurred, but now that I'm older, my skin is a little bit more porous, I see how this really lays it down. It's a little thicker than some of my favorite powders currently, but I feel like that kind of packs into the skin and really smooths it over. So if you haven't used Laura Mercier powder in a while, this is still the business. You saw how it mattified my face and just made everything look really smooth in the demo. Now on the other side of my face is another setting powder that I was loving, obviously, hence the name of this video, the purpose why we all are sitting here. Huda Beauty. So I picked up the Easy Bake Loose Setting Powder, which has been my #1 powder recommendation from Sephora for years at this point. But I picked up a new shade, Cherry Blossom Cake, which is very lightly pink. I don't think it leaves behind too much of a pinky haze on my skin tone. It brightens a bit. It's a nice shade. I just picked this up to try it out. I didn't have a pink powder before, but it's not too overwhelmingly pink on my face, but it still is that really great, lightweight, extremely blurring setting powder with a brighter finish than what I'm normally used to, which I really, really enjoy. So this is like thinner, I would say, than the Laura Mercier, but they both are as equally blurring. This one is my favorite to bake with because it does have that thinner feel to it. It's fantastic, and I do love, love, love this new color. It's subtly different from the color Pound Cake that I was using before, but still really good if you're gonna do like a pinky cheek. It's amazing as a setting powder if you're going with more of a rosy toned look. And then the last complexion product, which honestly most of this month's video is about complexion. I really was not doing too much with the eyes this month. It's what's trending right now, and I've been really lazy and have not been doing too much with the eyes. It's been all about the skin. But Hourglass launched a couple new palettes. If you saw my review, you know that the shades in there weren't necessarily new, but I did enjoy the palettes nonetheless, especially this Sculpting set. I've had a lot of fun with this one as well, and this is the one of the two that launched that I didn't have the majority of these colors. And if you don't know my stance on Hourglass powders, they are my favorite luxury powders on the market. They, in my opinion, are a formula that absolutely cannot be duped, and so I've just been enjoying this to set the face, to bronze the face, to add a little bit of glow. It's been great for just a quick complexion look to head out the door. I'll just blend a little bit of concealer all over my face, a little bit of a brow gel, and then I will use this to get, you know, the depth and the glow onto my face, and it is the great Hourglass formula. So minus the blush, which I have been reaching for a lot of other blushes recently because blush is really hitting right now. You know, it's hitting the shelves. So many new blushes have launched that I haven't even felt like I needed a blush from this palette because I've liked having to go to the other formulas to test out. But this has the basics for setting, adding glow, adding sculpt, all of that good stuff. So I've enjoyed this. Unfortunately, it did sell out, but I've been loving it. And that brings me to the final product because I don't even have lips either. I recently reorganized my lipsticks and they're definitely more visible, so I got out of the rut of using the same few lip colors, and I've been just using a different one every single day, so nothing has been repetitive in that sense. So I only have two eyeshadow palettes. This launched towards the end of May, but as always, every time Odin's Eye launches a new collection, they do end up in my favorites. I don't think I'm going to have a palette rankings this month because I don't think I tried enough. I think I only tried 5, but I'm going to recount and we'll see. But it probably will come next month. But I always fall in love with the Odin's Eye palettes, even if they're not the ones that I use every day. I've been using the Esums a lot. The color stories are so unique. The formula is so high quality, especially for the price point. So the first one we have is the Stone and Rock, which a lot of people were comparing to the Yucca palette from Natasha Denona. I recently did do a swatch comparisons video. This one does not look like the Yucca palette, but it is really fun and vibrant, but I think I might be more partial to the Jewels and Gem palette, which is what I have on today. And I'm not a blue girl, but I always wear blues in my videos because there's no other time I'm putting on blues, so I might as well do it for the camera. Because if I'm not filming, I'm not putting blue on my eyes. And I had on a navy dress. So for today's video, I started off with the shade 7th Heaven, and I used this all over my crease. It really gave kind of like a grungy, hazy background to the eye look. And then I used the shade Rapture, which is extremely pigmented, and I just focused that in the outer corner of my eye. It was very easy to blend. And then for a little bit more depth, I used some of Intoxication in the outer corner. It has a little bit of a purpley tone to it, which I think is a fun element. And then finally, all over the lid, I used Gorgeousness, and obviously it's just gorgeousness. I think what makes Odin Eye stand out as a brand is their shimmers and reflex. There is no other brand other than very expensive brands that are able to replicate these formulas. And I didn't show this, but off camera, I used the shade Rephr to set a navy eyeliner that I put down, and then I used some of Elatedness, and that is giving me the glow in the inner corner. But as always, Odin's I Killed It. I haven't used these a ton, but I am certainly looking forward to using these more. And the reason why I decided to put these in my monthly favorites, even though these being newer to the collection, is I already know I've had to, every time I filmed, kind of like think about if I wanted to use this or another one, because I always had my eyes on using these, but there's always more to be tested. But yeah, I'm in love with this launch. I think they did a phenomenal job with the palettes as per usual. So that is all I have for my May beauty favorites. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would love to hear what products you enjoyed for the month of May as the weather is starting to get warmer. What are some new discoveries you have for the summer weather? And I will catch you guys next month. There were some launches at the very end that didn't quite make the cut, like the Natasha Denona Yucca palette I'm loving, but I tried that June 1st. And there was the Pat McGrath blushes, which I don't think are going to make it to next month monthly favorites, but I tried that like May 31st, so I'm not counting that. You want to know honorable mention that nobody asked for? I almost, for lips, put the Charlotte Tilbury lip gloss in Pinkgasm Sunset. I didn't end up putting it in because I haven't used it a ton, but I love this, so like buy this too, okay? Obviously, I feel like talking to you. It's Monday. I haven't got to talk about makeup all weekend. All right, bye guys.